Hi, my name is Kendra Asbury. I teach Math 8 and Integrated Math 1 in Sacramento, California. In this video, I hope to highlight the ways in which polygraph help my students specifically. Polygraph is awesome for a number of reasons. It's compare and contrast, which is inherently powerful, but it also depends on vocabulary, writing, and communication, which our students definitely need to develop and are heavily represented in the Common Core standards. However, my situation is a bit different because it also fosters language acquisition, which I'm going to talk about more later. When it comes to communication in my classroom, I get a lot of the same generic words, which mean nothing. Words like it, go, them, solve, put, up, and down. These words are the words that students identify with and that mean something to them, but actually mean nothing within the context of the lesson, or at minimum, could definitely be more specific. I teach at Fern Bacon Middle School in Sacramento, and our student population is incredibly diverse. With that multiculturalism comes language diversity. And so, in addition to any teacher's desire for their students to be articulate and knowledgeable, students more likely speak a different language at home than they do English. So some of our home languages include Spanish, Russian, Hmong, Vietnamese, Chinese, Mien, Pashto, Urdu, Farsi, Arabic, Romanian, Thai, and Lao. Over the last few years, we've gotten a lot of new students that are coming directly from Afghanistan, and they're moving out of their home country due to traumatic experiences, but they still dream of being an engineer or other professionals in the STEM field. And I absolutely recognize the role that I play in that long journey to make that dream come true. Given that English language acquisition is the first step to this, the question becomes, how do I make sure that a polygraph is attainable for them, as well as all my other students who speak English as a second language? So I do a couple things leading up to the polygraph activities in my class that help make it easier for students to understand. The first thing we do in class is we build a word bank on the wall together of unit vocabulary that students might use during that unit. Next, as a class, we do an activity called Which One Doesn't Belong? I don't know if you're familiar with this activity, but essentially you present the class with 4 different pictures, and they have to decide in their opinion which one doesn't belong. The thing is that all 4 don't belong for different reasons. So a student, no matter which one they pick, will actually be correct. And in fact, some of them don't belong for multiple reasons. So in my class, we go to the 4 corners of the room, depending on which answer you chose, and you share out your answers with everyone else in the same corner. And you might see that other people are there for different reasons. Then we share out as a class. For me, this is a great builder leading up to polygraph because it's still a compare and contrast concept where kids get to exercise vocabulary off of the word bank we made, but it's not individualized quite yet. So there's not the same amount of pressure where someone's depending on you to ask a very specific question. The third intervention I do with some of my beginning English language learners is I give them some sentence starters so that when they play polygraph with another student, they have the framework to ask the questions and they can focus on demonstrating their understanding of math. Not only do I think that polygraph is awesome for all of my students because it forces them to be specific in their questions, but I also think that it's really important that all students be able to participate in this activity. So in my class, I have to provide these extra interventions to make sure that it's attainable for everybody. I think it's really important to include all of my students in these polygraph activities because it helps either with their math proficiency or their English proficiency. And the students who play along with somebody who maybe still be learning English, they have an important lesson there as well in terms of developing their patience and compassion. So once we have these interventions in place, our kiddos are ready to play polygraph. So I wanted to show you some of the polygraph that we play during the year. The first one that I would probably start with out of all of them would be points, right? Because a lot of the things we do in Math 8 occur on the coordinate grid. They definitely need to have an understanding of coordinate points. We also start the year off by going over transformations. So this one is one specifically about translations. This one is about all types of transformations. I mean, this is very vocabulary heavy. This is really important for our students to practice these words. Otherwise, math feels like a foreign language. And here we have a polygraph about lines. So we just did this one actually recently. And we're going to be doing this one, which is a polygraph about systems. So in my classroom, Desmos Polygraph is one of my favorite activities to play because it helps students develop math fluency and vocabulary and specificity, demonstrate conceptual understanding, develop critical thinking skills, have fun with math, most important, create community, and develop patience and compassion for others.